That was
find an ending there. Oh, wow. Watching the birds at Sundance. Okay, so we got a few more Sundance stories. For one, what happened to you with the hair on the street? There are so many people on the street at Sundance, like walking everywhere, left and right. It's like, oh, I got to get through, and I'm wearing too many clothes, and I can't fit on the sidewalk, and I got to walk into the street, and it's a danger zone.
Well, and there's a lot of cool people there. Okay, let me just tell you, that's how it is. There's a lot of people who think that they're cooler than they actually are, and some people who are pretty cool. And it's this funny atmosphere where everybody's kind of looking at each other to see if they're famous or
see if they're cool.
Yeah, or how cool they are. And so you're a little self-conscious, okay? And we're walking down the street, and this guy, another tall guy, so he made eye contact with me. I'd look over all the rest of the people. But he makes eye contact with me, and he's kind of smiling at me. And without missing a beat, he's just like, hey, why don't you tease that up a little bit more?
And I heard it because I was walking behind you, and I saw the exchange and everything, and I was like, he looked like he was giving you a compliment, but I think I heard what he said.
And it was one of those things that I'm walking, he's walking, he says it, and hey, why don't you tease that up a little bit more? And then it like hit me, because when he started talking to me, I was like,
say?
I said nothing.
Oh, did you smile back?
I was going like this, and then I realized what he said, and I was like, I want to punch that dude. What am I? And then it was
why
just
don't you
like,
tease my fist into your mouth and into your ear?
The audacity. Now, I realize that my hair is easy to pick on.
You're asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I might say. But
would you ever say that to somebody? What a jerk.
Well, I wouldn't say that because, I mean, look at my hair. I can't say that. But I will say that within 20 minutes or so, I'm walking and a girl says, hey, I really like your hair. Superb.
And she also kept walking. I heard that as well. What you didn't hear is that like
she said superb.
After she went by, and then she was like, "You thought I was superb," and he thought a minute.
Well, I think
so that made you feel better.
It made me feel better. But that dude, he said, and so it made me think maybe I should just go short again.
Let's not. Okay, we have other stories.
Okay.
I just don't want to make it about just about your hair. Your hair's fine, okay?
All right, thanks.
So we're in a panel.
It's better than fine.
And we're on a panel with a couple of different people from different auspices that interact with YouTube to find talent. And we were on the panel as talent. And so everyone gives it a little spiel, including us, and then there's open it up for Q&A. And they said, okay, there's going to be questions, so get them ready. And then a woman on the front row, I would say she's in her mid-50s, is the first woman, immediately raises her hand, right in the front row, like literally as close as I am to you, if you were inside the camera, so pretty close, she raises her hand, they give her the microphone, first question asked, directed at us, she looks right at us, she says, I just realized who you guys are. And we're like, good, thank you. It's like, well, who are we?
She said, you're from Chicago, right?
And we're like, no. And then she's like, you play piano, right? And we're like,
meanwhile, we're on a panel. There's like, 50 to 75 people listening to this conversation.
Where she's trying to convince us that she knows us by telling us falsehoods about us.
And then she's like, well, I still know who you are.
And then she gives the mic down. No question.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, let me
awesome.
clarify. You're not from Chicago, are you?
No, I've never played piano professionally or otherwise. But I have dated that woman. And I did tell her I was a Chicago pianist.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, but it was like a long time. It was before Christian and I met. It was way in the past.
And I will say, the last thing, this was one of the coolest things that happened to us, is we got to see some screenings. We got to see some films. And so we went to a film called Low Down. It was the world premiere of this film, and starring
Loadhound,
Glenn Close, Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's little sister,
Peter Dinklage.
John Hawkes was the lead. John Hawkes, Peter Dinklage, were not in the house. But Glenn Close, Flea, and Elle Fanning are actually there watching the movie.
That's the cool thing about Sundance.
And then they get up there and do a Q&A on stage after the movie.
And Flea starts crying.
He started crying during the Q&A.
It was awesome. I think my impression of Flea, I mean, I'm a Chili Peppers fan from way back. So it was kind of a thrill.
The sock days?
Well, after that.
Oh.
So not that far back.
The two sock days.
Not that low down. And so I've fangirled over Flea a little bit over the years. Has like done a little research. So I know that this is like one of the most tender-hearted individuals on the planet. I'd love to meet him, cry with him about something. He seems like a guy who could cry at anything. But and he did. He cried.
It was pretty serious,
it was a serious thing. the story is true story of the daughter of a famous jazz pianist, not from Chicago though, from Hollywood, who had a heroin addiction, and I mean she had a horrible life. And so basically, she wrote a book, and then it was turned into this movie. But then Flea's talking about why he was so involved in the movie, and it was because he grew up in the same neighborhood at the same time in the early '70s in Hollywood, where jazz was falling out of whatever the word is,
fashion,
vogue, and so all of these musicians were just falling apart. And either one of his parents also had an addiction problem, and he just started crying about it. It was like, yeah, I'm here for this.
It was pretty. I mean,
world premiere of a movie.
How often do you get to watch a movie and the cast is there, and then that was the highlight for me.
He played trumpet in the movie.
I didn't get to sit next to Sam Rockwell, but
Flea he plays trumpet just like me, but he's more well known for his bass.
You mean as in you both play trumpet? He doesn't actually play the trumpet like you play the trumpet.
No, he plays it much better. Last thing I'll say is that. The first question they asked was, does John Hawkes, the lead in the film, know how to play the piano? Because, I mean, he had to be like a jazz virtuoso. And the answer was no. I mean, there's shots of him in the film playing jazz piano like a virtuoso.
He was actually trained not to learn how to play the piano, but how to play the parts in the film just by hitting the right keys and hitting them at the right time.
Amazing.
And it was him doing it for reals, but they were playing the piano track that they had recorded from the actual girl's father. It was pretty amazing.
So he was a virtuoso piano imitator, yeah. Which I aspire to be one day when I move to Chicago.
Well, you can do that with Flea's trumpet. Flea plays the trumpet, and then you just pick it up and go.
So Flea, if you're out there, I'd love to meet you. I'll even drive to Malibu. And I admire your tenderheartedness, and I'd love to cry with you while listening to your albums on vinyl.
That's probably not a good end. Don't say that.
Because that would be awesome.
Just tell him you'd like to hang, and then if you end up crying, then it just happens.
If it happens, it happens, but don't put the pressure on him.
Yeah, you don't start with, I would like to cry with you.
Yeah, just if it happens, it happens. And
let's hang and listen, I'm willing to cry if that's what it comes to.